understand the position of a parent, that's why he goes and apologizes to the Isaacs, particularly the parents. Because he can kind of understand what a parent is going through, and he relates to Isaacs. That's why he actually makes an attempt to apologize to them. Um, the thing about his, although you can say, oh, he's looking at the hot little desiree, as he's walking out, and that complicates a lot of things. But the fact that he actually made a step to go out and to actually go to Grahamstown to meet them is that he actually has imagined what the Isaacs need. He imagines that the Isaacs, Mr. Isaacs wants an answer, wants an apology, and he gives it to them. Although it's very complicated, that's why it's not black or white, then really. And he also returns the innocent, defenseless prostitute. When you realize, right, after their little romp in his car, she sleeps, she falls asleep. And in a state of sleep, she's really very vulnerable, but he still drives her back to where he found her. And the thing about Allegra, the daughter, is that she is Byron's unwanted love child. So that's why Byron doesn't care about her. And the fact that he can actually think of Allegra is very significant because he can recognize that, he can recognize the kind of loneliness, that kind of abandonment. That's why Allegra is in at the end also. And that's how I see it. Okay. Where I want to really get to is this part. Slowly, okay, there's 3 things I want to get through. If you can't digest it all now, you can look at it again next time. So what we want to look at is, go to 214. If you go to 214 in your book, start from the sentence where it says, it is consuming him night and day. The thing about opera. So at the start of the novel, Davis is really egocentric guy, but by the end, there's a certain extent of a loss of ego for him. He is consumed in the opera. He's preparing to be forgotten, which is very interesting. Because at first he wants to be remembered, right? He wants to return triumphant to society as the author of the eccentric little chamber opera. But after that, he thinks that, okay, maybe that's a bit too much to hope for. I will just try and do something, and then if there's one nice note that darts up, okay, someone will identify it, but I wouldn't know that someone because I'll be picked by them. So in a sense, he's kind of being prepared to be forgotten. He says he will leave that to the scholars of the future, if there are still scholars by then. So he recognizes that, his type of people are dying, and the whole idea of lineage, that they will go out of existence altogether. And he really throws in other voices, and he's really trying to imagine what it's like to be the other voices. You're like a dog. So, will be there, break the dog into the piece. If you think about it, he also has to kind of craft the music for the dog as well. So he's really trying to project himself into other people as well. And what I like is, he says, okay, I give up, I will let go of the virtue of passion on 218. Perhaps those virtues will come as other virtues go. The virtue of passion, for instance. So that's where, you see that change, that he's really losing his egoistic self really. And we see that, there is some sort of a grace in giving up the dog as well. Because if you realize now, Yuri thinks that the animal has a soul also. Not only is David calling the animal him, the dog, he's not only calling the animal him, he also thinks that the dog has a soul that will expire. Quite neat really for a guy who was thinking that a dog doesn't have much of a soul. Just wants to hump around other dogs as well. Doesn't have much of a soul himself. And he recognizes that actually his desire to keep him right is inconsequential. It's all about the dog now. The dog is going to die. The longer I keep him, the longer he's going to suffer. So it's a very tricky thing where you take control of his life, but you do it in his best interest. And I think it's really quite powerful really for a guy like him. Barely a year between like the start of the novel and the end of the novel, and he has such a big change in himself. So all these parts, and finally Lucy also, he recognizes Lucy's otherness. So he sees her as solid. Yeah, that's where somewhere a solid existence probably would do. Aha, 217, somewhere smack in the middle. So, once she was only a little tadpole in her mother's body, and now here she is solid in her existence, more solid than he has ever been. Yeah. So Lucy is, it's just damn solid, Lucy. Okay. Solid season, not solid season. Okay. Okay. City boys can recognize beauty when they see it. Okay. Let's go to this question first. Okay. City boys can recognize beauty when they see it. He thinks of himself as a city boy. But if you remember the quote, the city can pass judgment on the country too. In a way, at this point in time, Louis seems to be suspending judgment of Lucy. Although he doesn't, agree with the country ways, he just stops and said, man, that is beauty. So he stops and he recognizes that even in that thing he doesn't agree with, he can still identify beauty. And that takes his breath away. So in a sense, he has kind of suspended judgment. Quite good. Thumbs up. Okay, good job. Pat him on the back again. But all this brings up another question also. Do you think Yuri is pretty much resigned to his fate? That question is really up to you, because how you answer it pretty much determines part of your reading of the whole novel also. If you think he's resigned, or if not, what else lah? Yeah, resigned to old age. Okay. So maybe if you want, you can just pick out the page numbers, but I'm really kind of focusing on chapter 24. And